Hello and welcome back to part two. Hopefully you listened to part one before part two, but if not, I'm sure it'll be fine. So if you didn't, this is Justin,
This is Alexander.
and we're gonna go through our predictions over under for the Western Conference. And where does that start us off, Alexander?
It's going to start us off out in the Pacific,
Oh
out
right.
with the Vegas Golden Knights are over under of 106.5 points
Okay.
as the best in the Pacific, according to the. Hey, look, Vegas predicted that Vegas is going to dominate their division.
Homer, what? Oh,
And it's possible that their number might be uh, blown up a little bit just because in Vegas people tend to bet on Vegas, and so
right.
they have to kind of move their number around until it matches up with getting enough bets on either side of it so that they still make money.
Mm-hmm.
So this might be adjusted for inflation due to Vegas.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
But I think 106 is too high.
I agree. I think they'll crack 100, but I think they'll be scratching and clawing and fighting for that 100. I
Mm-hmm.
think they'll win the division, but
Okay.
just given the who else is in that division.
Mm-hmm.
but
Fair enough. I mean, I think the whole hey, we no longer have Marc Andre Fleury
yep,
and Robin Leonard thing. It says, hey, we have just Leonard and somebody that nobody's ever heard of
right. That's what I
is
was
not
about to
going to
say.
is it's
Is
not going to be great. I don't see where they've gotten better in that standpoint.
mm-hmm. That's what I was gonna
Um,
say. I don't know how you can trade away Flurry and get better,
yeah, how do
especially
you get rid of
when
a Vesna
yeah,
Trophy winner and improves? I don't think Vegas improved this offseason, so I
no,
don't think they're going to be as hot. I think the reason people think Vegas is going to dominate this division is because this division looks weak.
correct.
And the reason I think that's wrong is because I think Edmonton is actually going to be extremely strong. And for
Okay.
a bold prediction, Edmonton wins the
Ooh.
President's Trophy.
Oh, that
I
is
I, I think Edmonton clears 110 points.
that is a bold prediction.
I don't know who's going to play goal and keep them from losing tight games,
Right.
but I think there's a definite possibility we see another long, fabulous year from the McDavids, the Dreisaitl's. I think adding the Hyman from Toronto is
Mm-hmm.
actually going to make that line that much better. Jesse Pugliarvi fit in really well with McDavid, so
Mm-hmm.
now it's going to be Pugliarvi, Hyman, and McDavid together as a top line, leaving Draisaitl with his own line. Like
Mm-hmm.
they were really good last year, putting Draisaitl with McDavid. Now you can split them up and come at teams in two waves with your top line, and still put them all together on a power play that's probably going to run at close to 30%. I'm guessing this
That's
year.
gonna be terrifying.
So it's really going to be an offensive onslaught from Edmonton. The only question is how much are they going to give up on the back end?
Mm-hmm.
Time will tell on that. I don't necessarily think that Duncan Keith is the answer there, but
No, I don't either.
maybe you get him out of Chicago and change of scenery, something. Maybe he rejuvenates his career a little bit this year. We also, when it comes to the top players in the league at their peak, their teams tend to dominate the league, right? So we've seen that with like when Crosby was at his peak,
Mm-hmm.
Pittsburgh was phenomenal.
Mm-hmm.
When Ovechkin was at his peak, Washington was phenomenal. We're hitting and into McDavid's peak right now,
Which is
and so
scary to think about that he hasn't peaked until now.
you expect his success to translate to team success in the regular season. Playoffs are
Yes.
different thing altogether. That'll be a different podcast 6 months from
Oh yes.
now.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
For tonight, I am buying all the stock in the Edmonton Oilers regular season this year.
All right. I mean, I'm going to take them over. I think to be fighting Vegas for that top spot. So right around 100 points, give or take. But yeah, I think it's down to Vegas and Edmonton for the winner of this division.
Okay, that's fair.
All right. So next, surprisingly, somehow we have Seattle at 94.5.
This is totally wrong.
Oh
This
yes.
is absolutely wrong. They are under. This might be a bad take come back to bite me, but I'm going to see Seattle making the playoffs. I don't even necessarily see them as a bubble playoff team. I think they
No.
were poorly constructed
Yep.
and overshot their hand as far as what they could have done and went a different route, and it's just going to not be great.
Yep. I don't think they're as good as Vegas in their first year. And I think it's the odds makers just protecting their own hindquarters after Vegas torched them their first year in. So I think they're going to bump it a little bit higher
There's a
than they
lot of
should.
optimism
Mm-hmm.
in Seattle betting for, hey, no, we think we're going to be good this year. And so when they set the line at 92, it was like, oh, yeah, we'll get over 92 points. And they set it to 93. Like, I'll get over 93 points. So they had to keep bumping it up, kind of like they probably had to do with Vegas, until it was kind of like leveled off to where, like, okay, this must be where the market actually is at.
Yeah.
So, yeah, we'll see. All right.
Hey.
After Seattle, we have to go to Calgary, Justin's team, at
Mm-hmm.
92 and a half. Uh, I'm interested in your take on your Calgary team and what they did and didn't do this offseason and what you actually expect out of them this year.
It's so hard to say just because they're such an up and down team, but I think Daryl Sutter brings a lot of stability to that team. I think having a full off season under him will do a lot. And like I said last one of the previous podcasts too, I think him coming in partway through the season and having such a condensed season where they couldn't practice really didn't do him any favors because there at the end they kind
Right.
of started catching fire, but it's a little bit. And so I
Mm-hmm.
think if they can come out swinging, because they have never had a good October or November, like first
Mm-hmm.
3 or 4 weeks. So if they can put something together coming out, I think they have a chance to hit the over.
I think I'm looking forward to every Battle of Alberta game this year because
Oh
there will
yes,
be fans. Like we had so many last year, but there wasn't fans.
I
With
know.
fans this year, I think it's gonna be a huge contrast in styles
Mm-hmm.
between
Mm-hmm.
defensive tightness of Jalesburg and the wide openness of Edmonton. It's going to be a clash of epic proportions. I'm looking forward to every one of those games.
Oh yeah, same here. I saw a quote from Matthew Kachuk. He's like, "It's nice to be booed again because they played Edmonton Monday night." And he's like, "Yeah, it's nice to be booed again." So I think the fans will just add that dynamic right back in, and we'll get the battles from 2 years ago that we expected
Hmm.
to have.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Nice.
all right. Who do we got next? Vancouver at 88.5.
88.5, and I'm trying to decide if I want to take the over or the under still. I'm going to take the over, but this is like just a barely over. Like, I don't think, so, like, I think Calgary will be in that wild card and potentially third in the division
Mm-hmm.
playoff spot. I think Vancouver will be higher than 88, but they won't be in that spot. They'll be like 92, 91, somewhere in there.
Right.
And I think it's going to take 95 points. It seems like it usually takes about 95 points
Yeah,
to be
thereabouts.
in the third spot in your division or in that wild card fight. It
Mm-hmm.
seems to be about that break point. And then I see Vancouver as underneath that, but definitely better than 88.
Yep. Nope, I agree. I think they'll be right there. I don't think they'll be as bad as they were last year, but I think that was due to extenuating circumstances. But I don't. Yeah, I think that might be fighting for a wild card.
Mm-hmm. Um,
Alrighty, so
Los Angeles Kings. I'm going to make maybe another bold prediction here and say the Kings make the playoffs.
woo, that is very
I don't know
bold.
whether it'll be as the third in this division because it might be easier getting as the third in this division than as a wild card.
That has happened in years
I,
past. Yes.
I think this is the year that the Kings really put their youth together and actually make a move for it, and are buyers at the deadline to try and bring somebody in to whether that's another defenseman or a backup goaltender or something. They made some moves in the offseason to go get Philip Deneau from Montreal. I think they kind of overpaid for him because he had such a good playoff, but whatever.
Yeah, you're right.
And I think somebody on the team like Drew Doughty will have a good year because he wants to make the Canadian national team for the
Oh right.
Olympics. So I expect him to show out, maybe play above his current level because he's going to want to make that team. And so I think I think they will overachieve, especially early in the year, and then maybe coast into the playoffs towards the end of the year.
Yeah.
Uh, and eventually all the draft picks that they've drafted have got to start to come in and play well. And I think
You
this might be the year to do that. And this
think
is the
that,
year to
wouldn't
kind of
you?
do that when it's like, hey, you're going to be playing Vancouver and Calgary and San Jose and Anaheim. You're like, I think we could find a way to win those games.
Right.
And so I think they will.
I'm gonna take the
You
under.
you differ.
Yes, I do. We've got to differ sometimes here. Not very often though. It's like we think a lot of the same things when it comes to hockey. Weird, but no, I think
It's
I
like they
would take the
say,
under.
great minds think alike, but fools seldom differ. So this is
Right?
us.
They think like and so do ours. Yeah, because they were less than a point per game team last year, and I think they'll be in that same position this year. But I think they are on the very beginnings of an uptick. So
Yeah, and I might be a year early.
yeah,
That's probably fair, but yeah.
we'll see.
Where's the fun in being
Right,
sensible?
bold predictions. That's what they're there for.
All right. San Jose Sharks,
Yeah,
toothless Sharks at this point. 83 and a half.
yeah.
I still think they crap the bed worse than that.
Oh yeah, I think so. I think that's too high for them. I think I'd take the under on that.
I think there's already talk that like Tomas Hertl is going to get traded at the trade deadline. It's just kind of like they're going to be selling because they're going to have nothing.
Oof. If
Uh,
they're already talking about that, that's this point. That's not a great sign.
and then
So
going to the Anaheim Ducks. I think I'll just go over because they have them at 71 and a half, and I feel like maybe they get 72 to 75
yeah,
point.
I could buy that. Like
Still, I think San Jose is going to bottom out the division
probably.
at 70 points or whatnot. So
Yeah, just to be different, I'll take the under on them. Nope, just kidding. I think the over. I think they'll get more than 71 and a half points. I tried to
mhm,
do it, but I couldn't do it. I think you're right. I think the Sharks will bottom out that division, and Anaheim and LA will be right close to them.
mhm. Okay. So that is our Pacific Division. Moving on to the Central. Give you one guess as to who's expected to top the Central this year.
Arizona, right?
If you flip the grid upside down, they would be on the top.
No, I'm gonna go with Colorado.
Colorado, they are coming in at 101.
That is
No, 111.
insane. Yeah,
111
111.
and a half.
That
I don't
is
think they reach that.
no. I don't.
I expect them to be good,
Oh yeah.
but again, this is another team that is not thinking about the regular season.
Nope. They just want to get
I,
there.
yep. I think they'll still win the division. I don't think they're going to win the division by. Right now, they this is what a differential of what is that 15 points is what's the odds maker are because the next team down has 96 and a half. So they expect
Oh yeah, yeah,
15-point
yeah.
difference between basically 7.5 games difference between um, Colorado
Right.
and the next team in the division. That is way too high. So we're going under on those guys.
Yep, I agree.
The next team they are claiming the Minnesota Wild.
That's a
I
tough one.
I
Uh,
96 and a half points.
mm,
That's mm, again that's in my mind that's playoff-ish team,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
Uh, which I don't know that they'll do that again this year. But they kind of have to this year because
Right.
this is the year where they're capped with the Parise and the Suter buyout. They still have the ability to do some things. And after that, their cap hits actually go up for those bought out guys, and they run out of cap money next year and certainly the year after that. So they kind of have this short window to try and make something really happen. Uh, I am going to say, do I say under again? I don't know if I can take that many unders in a single division because I feel like I'm going to put everybody under in this division. I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna go under.
All right. I'm gonna say over. I just did the math, and if last year they played the whole pace for 82 games, they would have had 110 points. I don't think they're anywhere close to that, but I think, yeah. Now they have
I think
Arizona
it's
in their
a
division. They'll get a few more
I think
games.
it's a year where Kirill Kaprizov came in and got to play against the same 7 teams the entire year.
Right.
And I think it's going to be different when you face a bunch of different goaltenders, a bunch of different defensemen, a bunch of guys that have now had a year of looking at what you do. I don't think he's going to be the knight
hmm
in shining armor that he was. He'll still be good, but I think he just got overpaid, basically.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it wouldn't surprise me if they're under, but yeah, I'll be different and take the over.
Okay. Next up, we're going to go with Dallas at
Ugh.
94 and a half. I'm not sure what to make of Dallas.
Neither am I. They're barely a point per team game or point per game team last year.
Yeah, but like, I'm not sure Sagan played much of the year, if at all. I know Bishop didn't play the year, period, right? It was just Qdoban and
That sounds
the
right. Yeah.
next guy. Like, they came off of their loss to Tampa Bay in the Stanley Cup, and their year was just problem after problem. They had so many COVID breakouts on their team. They missed the
Right.
start of the year
That's
like
right. I forgot all
by
about
a
that.
couple weeks.
I'm like, oh yeah, they'll be all
So
rested up and good to go, and they got smashed.
yeah, and they weren't able to like make up that ground. Like they were always down in the standings because they
Mm-hmm.
hadn't played as many games as everybody else, but they never were able to really make up that ground.
Yeah. I
I,
don't know.
I think at this point, logically, I just have to take it over just to take it over. Because if I go under again, that's under on the top three, and I don't know that I have enough overs on the bottom five to justify it. So
Yeah, I'm gonna
logic,
go
logic
under.
tells me
Right.
okay.
Oh
Uh,
man.
the St. Louis Blues at 92 and a half.
Ugh. Man, they did a good job on this one.
Yeah, because that's kind of about where you think they'd be, huh?
Mm-hmm. I'm gonna take the over because I think they'll be a
I'm also
playoff team.
that's exactly my thinking. Is I think they'll be a playoff bubble team,
Yep, I agree.
honestly. And I think that 92 and a half is a playoff bubble team. Um,
Oh, boy,
the Winnipeg Jets.
is this the year they finally put something together?
This is the year they put something together and make a cup final run.
Ooh.
So that can be both a bold prediction and my Stanley Cup final uh, team out of the Western Conference is the
Okay.
Winnipeg Jets. I think you're going to have a team that is hungry, a team that is well coached,
Mm-hmm.
a team that in the offseason, a team that acquired Pierre Luc Dubois in the middle of a pandemic and then
Right.
wasn't really able to turn him around into the player that he was. I think a full off season or almost full off season training camp, time with the team, time to get to know the guys on the team, gelling, if you will, is going to go a long way towards making them better. I think Connor Hellebuyck is still a phenomenal goaltender,
Yes, I
and
agree.
there's no reason to think that he's going to just suddenly fall apart. He's not necessarily that type of goalie. He's a big, you know, tactical goalie. He's not a athletic jump around goalie.
Right. Yep. Which means he won't be prone to hurting himself very much.
They have made moves to improve defensively. I believe they added Brendan Dillon this year out
Mm-hmm.
of Washington. That was a nice little bit of business. I think he's a decent defender. I think he probably fits in there really well. And so I see Winnipeg having a really solid year, but then a really good playoff run, especially with the sting of the past few years
Mm-hmm.
when they've been one of those teams that just seems to lose at the worst times.
Oh yeah.
Um,
Yes, indeed. Ugh.
and they know their window has to be closing. Like it's not that Wheeler and Shifley are old, but
Right.
you got to look around your and you got to see, hey, Colorado's entering the window, Edmonton's entering their window. There's not a lot of space for us in the Western Conference at 3 years from now.
Yep.
So you got to do it now.
Oof. That's so tough.
So that's my prediction. I will go
Yeah.
over.
No, well,
I got to go
also
over
take
to
the
get
over.
in the playoffs.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Same
They
here.
might get in as a wild card, honestly.
Mm-hmm.
But once they're in the playoffs, there's a definite possibility I will be picking them after the season is over to win the Stanley Cup, even though it might be like they're just barely a wild card team. Why would you pick them to win the Stanley Cup? That's how
That's.
crazy I am for Winnipeg this year.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I was gonna try and bold predict that they would win the division, but I just couldn't quite do it. Can't quite bring myself to do it, but we'll see if I change my mind here in a minute.
That's fair. Um, next up, we have the Chicago Blackhawks
The Black
at
Hawks.
90 and a half. Yuck.
Yeah.
I think that's correct. I think 90 points is perfect. So I think
Mhm.
I'm going to go under just so I could say they're at 90 points because I
Right.
don't think they'll get to 90. But I guess
Yeah, I'm gonna take the over and bold prediction. I think they will make the playoffs, and if they do, I really, really hope that they face Vegas because I think that would just be juicy. and delicious. So that's my bold predictions. They will face Vegas in a playoff matchup.
I like it. I like it. That would be good.
Oh yeah.
That 1 versus 8 right off the bat. It's like, hey,
Mm-hmm.
let's see who figured it out.
Yep. Let's see who kept the red goaltender.
Okay. Leaving us then with the Nashville Predators. 84.5 points this year. Pekka Rinne retired.
Mm-hmm.
Ryan Ellis went to Philadelphia. Their top line center is still Matt Duchene
I think. Yeah. Sure.
at like $8 million a year. Yeah. Um, I'm not a fan.
Yeah. Me either.
I don't know what that team's really going to do, so I'm going to take them as the under.
I will do likewise. Which leaves us the last team to talk about is the Arizona Coyotes.
They are trying to lose as many games this year as they can.
Which I don't think they'll put in much effort for that.
Nope. And it's going to be an ugly, bloody year in Arizona. They know it. They know it's coming. And it's just kind of look, embrace it for what it is this year.
Mm-hmm.
We're trying to get one of the top 1, 2, 3 picks in this year's draft, and there is a path to doing that, and we're taking it.
Do they even have any picks to take if they get the first draft picks?
Yeah, so they actually have, I think, currently have 2 or 3 first-round picks and 5 or 6 second-round picks. They have 8 picks in the first 2 rounds this coming year.
Wow, that's insane.
I believe I'm accurate on that. I will check real quick just because I'd hate to be wrong. So yes, although they have a conditional first round pick with the Montreal Canadiens
Okay.
on
Oh, right.
those weird
Yeah, I
conditions
forgot about those. Okay.
because
Yeah,
they could be getting but then they have their own this year and they have the one they traded Darcy Kemper for, and then
that's
they
right.
have five
I forgot about the Kemper trade too. So okay. Yeah.
five second round picks. So yeah, they have 8 in the first 2 rounds, and they should have some pretty decent picks, honestly, in those rounds. So yeah, I think they should be set up for that. And it's also possible they will sell some guys at the deadline
Mm-hmm.
to try and gain still more first round picks. I don't know who that would be, but maybe somebody gets hot or they trade a tenured defenseman or something. But they are starting a rebuild and they are tearing it down fast.
They're starting the rebuild for their rebuild, I think.
They're 3 years away from being 3 years away, and
Yeah,
so
that's rough as a fan.
it is. And being 5 years into a 10-year rebuild is where I'm at currently as a Red Wings fan, and this is a down point right now for sure.
Right.
But
yeah.
that being said, you got to go through the valley to get to the mountains, and Arizona's kind of been in the valley for a while.
Yeah, because they kind of keep digging themselves down into the valley.
Yeah, maybe that's because they're actually in the valley.
All right. I feel like I need to make another bold prediction, but I'm not sure what.
Ooh,
Me.
you do kind of need another bold prediction.
Yeah.
Would you like to predict anything from like point totals for like Cale Makar or
Right.
suspension status of anyone or
How long it takes before what's his name? Kadri gets suspended again.
who's the first coach that's going to get fired?
Oh, there you go. Yeah, that's always a fun one to pick. Because it usually comes out of left field. You think you have it pegged, and then oh wait, what? He did? Wow.
Yeah. Somebody like signed an extension last year for 2 more years, and they're like, actually, we're going to get rid of you now. It's like, why? Like Bedard in Colorado will get fired.
Right. Yeah.
Like, well, we started out the year 500 after 40 games, so we're going to fire the coach.
Would it be bold to say Colorado doesn't win their division?
I think that would be fairly bold because this is the division that has the widest disparaging gap between 1 and 2 according to predictions.
All right. Well, I will slap that one on there then, because I think they might be taking something from Tampa Bay's page, like we said earlier. Let's get to the playoffs. Don't care how we get there. Let's just get there.
Okay.
So I had to make another one. So here we are.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So you have Winnipeg as your Stanley Cup finalist from the West. I'm gonna go Vegas just because I think they're gonna be really angry and hungry from how it ended last year.
Mhm.
Even though they don't have Flower, but here and there. Um, yeah, I think they'll make it back. I'm done picking Colorado. I've picked them like the last 3 or 4 years. It feels like, and they haven't done it. Which maybe I should keep picking Colorado then.
Mm. Mhm. Mm.
Yeah. So not too late. I already picked Vegas. Of course, I got to go with Tampa Bay winning, so my prediction can come true. Who do you have winning
Yep.
from the Islanders v the Jets?
We'll probably have to take the Islanders.
Yep, that's kind of what I was thinking from yours. So, okay. Alrighty, so I got that marked down. Any other bold predictions, thoughts, things you want to throw out there? Craziness, team chaos things?
I don't think there's anything else I want to put my name on this year. I've obviously gone pretty bold with Edmonton. I do think McDavid has another phenomenal
Oh yeah.
year.
Oh yeah.
Um, I think we'll see a special year that we haven't seen from anybody in a long time,
Mm-hmm.
kind of thing. I know last year was special, but it was like, oh well, it's a shortened season. He's playing against the same competition.
Yeah.
I think it's easier to stop McDavid when you see him 4, 5, 6, 7 times than it is when
Okay.
you see him once or twice a year,
I can buy that. Yeah.
because you don't get the speed until you've seen it time and time again,
Yeah.
and
Even then,
it's
sometimes.
yeah, yeah. I mean, he's gonna come into Arizona for one night this year,
Mm-hmm.
and it's gonna be like, wow, who is this guy, and what did he just do to us?
Yep.
So,
Huh.
barring any significant injury, I think it's possible
Mm-hmm.
McDavid just. I know he's not going to set any records because the records were all, but
Oh, they're
adjusted record.
unchangeable. Not unchangeable. Yeah.
I mean, 150 points I think is reachable for him, which is
Whew.
ridiculous. Um,
Whew.
but I do think it is reachable over the course of an 82 game season. Um,
Yeah. I mean,
I think
that
they're
wouldn't
going to come
surprise
out
me
of
at
the gate
all.
hot. They're going to come out of the gate hot, and it's going to be,
Mm-hmm.
oh yeah, I'm going to be up a lot of nights just watching, being like, wow, I've never seen anybody play the game this way before, and it's going to be, yeah.
And probably won't see anybody since.
There's that possibility. Yeah. Yep. Um,
Hmm. I feel like I need one more prediction, but I can't. I mean, yeah, I think you're right. I think McDavid will get the one for the most points. Just a matter of how many points he gets. I think. So
yeah, it's like it's the Rocket Shard is his, or is it the Rocket Shard?
no, I think it's
No,
goals.
that's goals.
Um, Nuts. What is his for the points?
Oh well,
Yeah.
not important. Um, no, he'll if you
Bart
want to make a bold
Ross.
prediction, Art Roth, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. If you want to make a bold prediction, it would be that McDavid doesn't win the MVP this year.
I was actually kind of thinking that. So,
McDavid versus the field.
if I don't even know if I can take that. I probably can't. I won't. That's a little too bold for me, but watch it'll happen. I should have. But that's the fun of making predictions and doing these things. And when you're right, it feels good. When you're wrong, whatever. I tried.
You
So,
tried.
I think I recapped the Stanley Cup final matchups. Bold predictions. You have Edmonton winning the President Trophy, the Kings making the playoffs, and Winnipeg making the Cup final. I have Chicago and Vegas will meet up in a playoff matchup, and Colorado does not win their division. Anything else you wish to add to our list here?
No, I think that's good.
Good deal. Well, on that note, let's wrap it up. So, thank you all for listening. We hope you enjoyed both of our preseason predictions. So, again, hit us up at our email, which was hpyath@gmail.com. Tell us how right we are, how wrong we are, how dumb we are, whatever you feel like. Or comment on our YouTube, whichever. We'd like to hear back from you guys. So, thank you all for listening. I am Justin,
I'm Alexander.
and this is the Hockey Podcast you're about to hear, which you just did. Thanks for listening, and we'll catch you later.
Bye.